Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. You walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Ooh, show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Can't you see it's way past time? How explicit do I have to be? And then I spell it out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine.
Are you serious? That whole time? You know what it is? There. You know what it is? Well, no wonder there's so many comments. I was like, man, they're feeling me this morning. Can't hear you. Lost your voice. No sound. Lord Jesus. Now, that's not a senior moment. How come I don't hear you? That ain't me. How come I don't hear you, Jason? Well, that's my mic. That's not it. You're not muted. Okay, wait a minute. What's going on here? Let me turn this up. Nope. We've been messing with stuff, but we didn't mess with that. Jason, are you sure you're not muted? Go out and come back in. Could you? But you guys can hear me now, right? Dang, that was a good one. I had a good joke. Man, all of that stuff, I'm not going back and saying it all again. For those of you who can read lips or sign language, maybe I'll go back, download it, and put some, what's that stuff called at the bottom? The words that cross the bottom. It's Monday. Clearly it's Monday. Head over, get your Heart of Hollywood magazine, and say good. Is he back? He's coming. Say good morning to Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. She's here every day. And I was telling you guys, Cosmo Sapiens. That's the show with iRock, Space Radio, and iHeartRadio. Our show, I forgot, closed caption. Thank you, Brandy. Lord, somebody needs to get me a, I'm not claiming that. I almost said something age-related. Nope. Sending you where you came from. Get out of here. To the left, Felicia. So, anyway, our show on iRock, Galaxis Girl and myself, Cosmo Sapiens. The good news I forgot to tell you Friday when I did have sound was that, are you ready? October 3rd, 9 a.m. Pacific, and also again at 9 p.m. Pacific. You can listen to our show on Alexa, Google. So just say, Alexa, play iRock Space Radio, and you will find us. I'll let you guys know more about it as we get closer to that date. It's pretty exciting. Yay. Worked on the little studios and stuff down there. Gonna have 4 of them, 4 new little studios down in the man cave. Hi. Good morning. Okay, Jason's back. We're gonna see. I was saying before, Dane Torres was supposed to be here, and then he found out this morning when they texted him, oh, don't forget you have a flight. And he was like, oh my goodness. And so he said, I'm gonna send my twin sister. And so here she is. Can say something. What in the world? You sure your mic is on? It does not say, I can't do anything about your mic. I know what we're going to do. I'm going to play a video. If sound comes out on that video, we know something. Here's a little something I wanted. You were going to talk about Power We today and how we're changing it up this year in Chicago. Thank you, honey. On September, Lord, that was the first one. On, what's the date? April 28th. April 28th, 2022 at the beautiful Stan Mansion in Chicago. We're going to make history yet again. So let me show you guys something. Then we're going to see. Yeah, we're going to see. That's what we're going to do. Lord, please let there be sound. I do not want to be responsible for... Okay, here we go. I have it pulled up, and I have to hit this.
Power of Action.
Can you guys hear that?
Was chosen for me because
See?
that resonates in my own
That's
life.
your mic, Jason.
The reason why I'm here for these children, to be able to lift them up, to be able to give an example, which is the exact reason why I'm on stage.
I'm gonna blow him up, guys,
is because
so you can see
my
that.
life is an example of where you can come from and where you can get to over time. And that takes action. It takes strategy. It takes knowing where you want to go, but it takes a lot of action. And there's those moments in life when you're handed a choice and an opportunity. I want you to think about that for just a second. From your own perspective, from your own life, what got you here? The opportunities that you got. Where are you headed? Is there a failure that I could talk about that would be the linchpin to where I
Say something.
Where do we start? I honestly would say that the failure has been. I mean, there's multiple failures along the way, and I literally pushed the envelope of not doing. I don't want to do the things that I did yesterday because I'm going to get yesterday's result. And so I know that I have to do things differently today, and inherently in that is going to be the failure embedded in it. There's going to be mistakes that I make.
Jason, are you on your computer?
There's going to be the opportunity.
Go out and come in on your phone.
Change my perspective and to change my approach and to take different actions, use different words, use different thoughts, surround myself with different people. And it's important. I think back to my childhood. My adopted father ended up in prison when I was 17 for attempted murder of me and my mom. Broke my nose 18 times on the way up.
18 times.
And I'm trying to put myself in the seat that you sit in, some of the stories that I've heard, some of the conversations I've heard, why this thing was put together in the first place. Because nobody back when I was a kid ever would have looked at me and said, that guy's going to be something. Ever. Y'all ever felt that way? It's not true.
Brandy.
It's the power of language. It's the power of action.
That's what I told him, Brandy. His
decision
mic
that
was
you made
muted,
to be
but it
you.
didn't say muted.
What I hope to share with the kids tomorrow is hope.
Good to see all of you. Hi, Lori. Hi, Christopher,
And,
Sherry, Brandy, and the rest.
part of
Hey,
leadership
everybody.
is knowing
Carrie
the way,
Duvall. Hi, Chris. Oh, I said Christopher.
going the way, and then showing the way. And I feel a direct obligation
Coda.
to the people that believed in me when they shouldn't have, when I was in situations.
Facebook user. Who are you? I love you too.
There was no reason why anybody should have looked at me in the early part.
Oh, I think I found
I was
it.
going to be able to do something. But this is my opportunity. People like Tony Robbins
No, I
have
didn't.
reached into my life that have said that they believe in me at really key, crucial points in my life. That's if I do this for the rest of my life and I'm able to have this conversation with these kids tomorrow and they hear one word from me that just says, has nothing to do with Jason Cisneros. It has to do with the idea that if that guy can do it, so can I.
Amen.
That's what I hope to get out of tomorrow.
Can you do it? Yes or no? Come on, let's take it to another level. This is the way. This is where life changes. In these moments where you have a choice to act like we did in the past or to break loose and open up. This entire day, the reason why I'm doing this is because you are going to have some amazing content. You've got some amazing people that have shown up here and a ton of energy that has been put into this event just for you. And if you don't want to receive it, that's cool with me. If you want to play small, that's okay with me.
Say something, Jason.
Something. If you want to think that the people that are around you, that are standing by you, are going to judge you for stepping out and doing something different, that creates a result in life. And it's up to you. That's that choice.
That's so
What
funny.
you do with what you have today, what you do with what you're going to do after today, that's up to you. We're here. I'm here to pour everything I got into y'all. Not whether you like me or not. That's not my job. My job is to look back to see where I was in my life and to know what it took for me to get out of it. For me not to end up where my little brother ended up in prison.
And clearly he didn't because he's here. Well, you might have. We just don't know about it. Unmute yourself. I did it because I could hear the feedback. See? Oh, I know. I turned your mic up before to 100 or something. Hold on. Let me turn you. It was 140 something. No, 190. Wait.
Literally, all I did was go out on my computer and come back in.
Okay. Why do I hear echo? Do you have the other thing open?
No, it's closed.
I got all this high-tech stuff now. I do. I forgot to turn. I'm turning this down. The button. Wait a minute. That's you again. You. I don't know what you've been doing. But look, isn't that interesting? Why am I echoing in there?
There's no echo between you and I.
Do you guys hear an echo from me out there? I hear it. Oh, that bothers me. Do you guys hear that? How about now? No, I just went to the computer. Okay, we're not going to have a tech class. But isn't it interesting? I look at it like this. See, Sherry hears an echo. Jason, you don't have the phone open still?
No.
Do you have earbuds?
I
Or
don't.
headphones?
I'm open on my computer and that's it.
Do you have any headphones?
Not that'll go into my computer.
Need to get
Is
your
it- Is it echoing really bad?
Sherry McQueen said it, and you know Sherry McQueen knows everything.
She do.
You need some of these that you can use on with Bluetooth.
Yeah, I'm not at my home studio.
Oh. Whoa, what if I whisper? Nope, still here. I wanted to say how interesting that I was muted all that time and then you couldn't speak. Something is trying hard to get in here and mess some stuff up today. That's how I look at it. I'm like, you know what, Cletus? You better be gonna walk up. You walk over, you ain't even gonna live back. You're gonna crawl back on your nubs. Because I'm not having it. Here's what we'll do. I'll just shut up and let you talk. What I want to talk about, we showed you guys some of the original, the very first Power of We back in 2019. We've had another since then in Atlanta and we're about to have a third in Chicago on April 28th at the beautiful Scam Mansion. Now, we're changing things up a little bit this year. I'm partnering actually with Jason and some of his people because I wanted to get the message just firmly rooted into as many mindsets as possible about keeping our kids safe. And Jason and his crew, they handle a big part of that. And we're talking about the trafficking and all of the things that lead into it and all the residual, the dirty bathtub rings that are surrounding these people that have been trafficked. Including the people who have to go in and rescue them because they're not always successful and they got to live with that. So we're going to talk about all that and how we can all be a part to, you know, like Neighborhood Watch used to be when we were kids, to help keep our kids safe. So Jason, I'm going to shut up and let you kind of go at it. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing and some of the things people out there may not know about trafficking.
Well, I think, again, thanks for having me on your show, brother. It's always good to be with you. I know you're doing great things and, you know, wanted to just give you a shout out to all the people that are following the show and sharing it and making sure that your voice gets heard. You're making big waves out there. And, you know, as far as the trafficking goes, when you first called me about getting this back on the road again, you know, you started talking about doing it from a different angle, protecting our kids. And what I see from the couple of Power of We's that have been done, it is about protecting our kids. It's getting in and infusing into a mindset that maybe they don't have, giving them a different perspective. And when I, you know, the as many years and as many rescues as I've been on now, and everyone is different, but the theme is the same, which is that a child has been taken and then lied to and subsequently brainwashed into forgetting their inherent worth that God instilled in them. And that's the job of a trafficker. That's the job of an abusive spouse. That's the job of a government to take that away from the sovereignty of the individual. And the thing I love about the Power of We, it's done with heart. The love that goes into your events from the people, you know, from Timothy and, you know, and different people donating and the audience that ends up coming in, you know, it's done with love. And if nothing else, and we talked about this, the first one that you put on, you know, if nothing else, those kids get to come in and walk into a wall of love, you know, and then they're surrounded by it the entire time by people who are there to serve them, not to get anything from them, not to sell them anything, to sell them on the idea maybe that the surroundings that they have or the things that they've been trained and taught to believe about themselves and their worth, it's wrong, right? Because God doesn't make mistakes. And these children need to understand and they need to hear from an outside source of people, and you have people from all gender, all skin color, business background, women, men, all the spectrum of people that stand up there, and really, no matter what their words are, it's that you are loved, you are not alone, and you are worthy, right? Mm-hmm. And so, how do you do that? That's kind of the message. I mean, I see those of you that have followed me and on the Bald Avenger show and whatnot, you've heard this a few times, but I watch these children, these little girls and these little boys, when they're pulled out of this trafficking. And remember that it's a train track down to a place where they feel like they don't have an identity except for the one that's given to them by their pimp, right? Mm-hmm. And to see that shift and to be able to bring them out of that and to surround them by love, which is exactly what Pastor Rudy and his family does. Like when we'll bring a little girl out and then, we're rescuing them, waiting for the police and everybody else to show up, they get talked to by Pastor Rudy's daughters. Try to keep them away from the men if they're a girl, and just tell them, hey, you're loved. Can we pray for you? Here's a Bible that we handmade for you because we've been looking for you for so long, right? So your Power of We, brother, is a place for the youth and the kids of this country to come together in a room and be surrounded by adults who have purchased a ticket, who have sacrificed their time, who've traveled around from around the world to come and sit in that audience, to see them be loved, to support them on the breaks, the lunch breaks, and when they're coming across that red carpet and the different things that you see, you light it up, right? I wear a necklace constantly that says the most powerful tool or the most powerful weapon on planet Earth is the human soul set on fire. Yeah. And I've seen so many kids' souls set on fire at your events that's a form of freedom, at least an opportunity.
Thank you for that. And I want to say something here. You got, I gotta get my tech guy back over here. I didn't have this the other day. Something happened to me just this weekend, and it's been like that since you guys introduced me to what you do. When I came to Salt Lake, I really got to sit next to a mother whose child had been missing and talk to two girls who had actually been trafficked out of the same hotel I was staying in. And it takes me back to the Power Week in Chicago when those kids didn't get to come. And we showed the video, two kids that were supposed to be there that day lost their lives later that night at that mall that they weren't supposed to be at. And so that sort of thing. And so this weekend, and every time I see kids, I put this on my page, and I tell you why. You'll see me from afar reminding us about the joy of play and stuff for ourselves. But also, like when I saw this Friday night with my neighbor kids, I immediately thought, look at them inside here doing this. Watch. I love kids. Look at that great memory they're creating. A bunch of preteen kids sleeping in a tent. Remember those days? And the thing about that is immediately, I kid you not, immediately after I posted that, I heard someone say, and there are kids just like that somewhere tied up in a basement or locked in a shed or in a closet bolted shut or whatever the case may be. And it was like, I was almost like, turn that channel. And I want to talk about what's it like for a person like you and those on the team when you guys actually see these things. They tell us that once we hear something or see something, we cannot unhear it or unsee it. How do you deal with that?
Well, it's the power. One of the greatest things that has ever changed my life that I heard, learned, and applied is that human beings, it came out of Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, it should be a must read for everybody. And then further impacted me through, the works of Alexander Solzhenitsyn, He wrote a 3-volume series called the Gulag Archipelago, which was a deconstruction, basically a forensic deconstruction of what happened when people, when they were taking Jews and throwing them in trains and throwing them in prisons and, and ultimately, ovens and the murders and all the other things that they got, right? And it comes down to the fact that we control meaning in our life. Everybody who's watching your show, they control the meaning. They can look at you and say, oh, look at his hat, I'm not going to watch him, right? Or, oh, Jason's a bald white guy, why am I going to listen to him? Like that's us creating meaning in our life that either supports us or hurts us. And one of the things that I learned very early in the world of trafficking is no matter how it affects me, however it impacts me, I'm not the one chained to a bed being used 7, 8, 9, 10 times a night for $25 a pop, right? I'm not that person. Now, the second thing is that I can be of no use to somebody if I'm an asshole. I can be of use to nobody when I make it about me, when I make it selfish. I'm of no use to anybody if my spirit isn't light and joyful and welcoming, right? I cannot go out and raise money if all I'm going to do is make people feel guilty about the fact that they're, sipping on a latte while some kid's being raped around the world, right? That's the truth. But at the end of the day, if I do that and you hit people in the face with that kind of thing all the time, you lose something called community, right? So when you see the things that we've seen, like you said, I've seen things that I can't unsee that are heartbreaking, that sometimes I can't stop myself from crying because it's so heartbreaking. But at the end of the day, I let that wash through me as quickly as I possibly can to get back to a state that says, you know what, for that one child you just cried for, and we're able to pull out of that, there's 8 or 9 or 10 million more. So get over it. Get over yourself, right? Get over yourself and get to work. Use whatever tools you have at your disposal. You do this day in and day out. This is what you're doing with the Power We, something you don't have to do, something that doesn't make you money, something that takes an immense amount of time, effort, and energy to be able to put together, and an emotional toll on yourself, right? And Brian, for you guys to put it together.
Yeah.
So I think that the reminder there is that all of us can do something from where we are, as long as we get over ourselves and remember that we have the power to control meaning in our life and to make anything work for the benefit of the kingdom of God.
Of course. Absolutely right. So let's talk about what people can do. Not everybody is able to go on a mission or any of that. And some people feel like, oh, writing a check isn't enough. Let's take those two things off the table. And what does that leave available for people to do that can help this cause?
So it's first of all, you got to realize it's a multifaceted challenge. Number one, prevention, right? If you have a child, get in their life, right? Don't be their friend. That comes later in life, right? After you've gotten them through some of the things that they've got to face. So get into their phones, look at the apps, look at the conversations that they're having. Do those things. Oh, now I hear the echo. But those are the things. So prevention is one thing. Let your children know how much they mean to you. Let them know their worth in God. Let them know, that their hard work, that they're smart, that they're beautiful. Tell them the things that a pimp or a pedophile would tell them that would get their attention in the first place, right? So that's number one. So that's prevention. Rescue, your money helps, right? It's $3,600 ish for the freedom of a child to get them out of that lifestyle. Okay, that helps. Aftercare, there's different places that take care of these kids, that put the families back together, that give them the mental health support that they need. A fourth thing that people forget about is that there's very little deterrent in the legal system right now for a human trafficker, a pedophile, these types of things, right? Think about it.
Right.
There's two things, right? There's parts of this country now that you have to show your papers that you don't have, that you have or do not have the vaccine, okay? You have to show your papers. there's over 600,000 or 700,000 pedophiles that don't have to show their papers because guess what? It's against their privacy rules. So most of it, so the enforcement side of this is that you and I walking down the street in New York City, we have an 8-ball of cocaine in our pocket, right? I've said this to you before. You and I are going to do more time than somebody that's selling a child. So we have to get in and do the laws. In Arizona recently, the people rose up one person at a time, and they passed a bill called HB 2889. And Leo Benassi was the sponsor of that bill.
That's Arizona, right?
Arizona, yep. HB 2889. And what it is it's a life sentence for anybody that's caught with child pornography, pedophilia. They're committing pedophilia or trafficking of children. It's an automatic, no strikes, one strike, you're done. And it passed 51-1. Don't know who that one person is, but at the end of the day, there's multiple things that you can do. The question, right? The question that you ask is more important than the answer that I can give. What can I do? Set your mind about doing an inventory of your assets, an inventory of your influence, an inventory of your capacity to be able to serve true victims. And you and I have had this conversation in private, and we've gone back and forth a little bit online about what a victim is. And people that are out there that are running around with, okay, let me get my little notebook here and let me see, oh, check, yep, I'm black, check, I'm white, check, I'm a woman, check, I'm gay, check, I'm straight, check, we've got this laundry list of items that we have been taught are deficiencies and make us a victim. And it's 100% a weakening, right? That's how an elite, a powerful group of people who wants to control you, they want you to believe that you are absolutely broken in some way, shape, or form. If you have freedom, if you're watching Lauren's show right now on a phone, right, or on a computer, and there's nobody that is over the top of you, whipping you or making you do the things that you don't want to do, you have freedom. You have choice. You're not a victim. You're not broken, and you're not alone, right? So the biggest thing that we can do is understand that we've given our power away. It hasn't been taken away. It has been given away. We've given it away to people who have made us feel less than. And so until we realize in our own life, go through and erase that victimhood book and say, I'm not a victim of anything because I have the choice right now of how I want to live my life. I have the choice of what I want to do. I have the choice of learning new words. I have the choice of educating myself. I have the choice of starting a small business. I have a choice of changing my financial destiny. Then and only then can you be of service, right? A slave cannot free another slave.
Right.
Only free people can free those slaves.
So I have a question. Pedophile. Because you mentioned that term earlier. Mm-hmm. What do you think most people, I can't wait to get that echo thing fixed. What do you think most people imagine or visualize in their mind when they hear that term? What does it look like? What does that person look like in most people's minds? Because I think that's a great place to start, because you see something that doesn't look right. It's because you think you know what the right thing is here. And I think that has a lot to do with how this is getting so it is already out of hand. So talk about that if you could for a second.
Yeah, I'll tell you, in fact, I'll go both angles, right? One is what people think a pedophile looks like. And they think it's a dirty old man, who's creeping around a schoolyard or a park or, a janitor. And we think in our head, because the movies or whatever we've built up in our head, we think that visually we can identify them, but at the end of the day, all you have to do is research anything about Epstein's Island, right? You have some of the most powerful people on the face of the planet that were buying children and to have sex with them on his island, period, end of sentence, right? The reason why it's difficult to get these things passed, why my life is in danger, why my kids' life is in danger because of the work I do, is because it's judges, not all judges. It's police. It's not all police. It's senators, not all senators. It's the guy that runs the the local plumbing company, not all plumbers, right? It's just that you have to look for the behaviors, right? This is very similar to racism, where somebody can look at Lauren and go, oh, he's black. And then it fills in a bunch of preconceived notions about what a black man is, right? And then, oh, look at Jason, he's white. I can make a whole bunch of preconceived notions. No, the idea is that you have to be an astute observer of behavior, an astute observer of behavior. And when you can identify behavior, now you can start to make you can start to click together. This doesn't make sense, and I need to say something because that child looks uncomfortable. And look, at the end of the day, if somebody was to approach you on the street and say, hey, you know what, your child looks a little bit this or a little bit that, and they're wrong, right? Then there's no problem there. I would much rather have people being more intrusive into the things that they see. Keep an eye out for people at Walmart and in the parking lot and in Walmart themselves. You've seen abductions happen, and it happens in less than 15 seconds, an abduction of a child.
And one of the reasons we are changing things up a bit at the Power of We this year is we want to really bring in a lot of just everyday adult to learn the part that's missing. And so let's talk about, if we could, the responsibility of not just the parents or the household that the child lives in, but those people around those houses. I mentioned earlier, I think did I have sound in or not, about back, I remember Neighborhood Watch, and if it wasn't Neighborhood Watch, it was nosy Mrs. Valentine who lived around the corner. I don't know how she did it, but you could have been 80 miles away and she was already calling your mama before you even got finished doing the shit you were doing. And we bitched about it, of course, as kids, but it kept us safe. What do you feel? How do you feel the mindset that a lot of people have of, I'm not trying to get sued. I don't want the police at my house. I don't want the repercussions from the daddy or whomever for butting in their business. I mean, I've had people call me, seriously, something going up in an apartment they live in, right upstairs, they can hear a child being beaten and thrown against walls and stuff, and have done it, have called several times, but they've been threatened. And now they know, what do I do? And I've had a woman actually call me and say, it's happening right now. I'm scared to call the police, but I don't know what to do. Talk about that thing. There's so much going on.
There is. And again, it's part of the distraction, right? I mean, the division that's happening. So you look macro and then we'll go micro. Macro is the culture that we're allowing our worthless leaders to set for our country, right? It's supposed to be the opposite. We the people, you see it right behind me here. It's a constant reminder. It's we the people that matter. And we the people have abdicated our power and our voices. We've abdicated it to a group of people who have metastasized themselves in the government that are saying they're there for our protection. But it's the same. And I'm saying the same about Democrats and Republicans, by the way. Can't stand either one of them. There's some good people on both sides. But for the most part, we've allowed our civic duty, we've abdicated it to a group of people who now think, because we did that they're smarter than us, more capable than us, and can control those things. So when you abdicate that power, then you're distracting yourself in pleasures of the moment, which means that you forget that the reason why you have the freedom to do that in the first place is because other people put their lives on the line. So when you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble, or oh my gosh, my life is in danger, I understand being afraid, but that doesn't excuse you from this thing called being a human being. And the impact and look, I could go through all the death threats I've had, the videos that I've had of people being beheaded saying I'm next, all of the stuff that I've gone through, but nobody cares about that. And to be frankly honest with you, I don't care. I'm over it. You can't scare me out of doing what God called me to do, because that scares me more, being out of the will of God, right? So I think that it's for each individual, but the culture that we've allowed to set is that, you know, black should be against white, Democrats should be against Republicans. And then let's pile on COVID and race wars and drug wars and border issues and all these, let's pile all that on so that regular Joes like us that are living our life, doing our best that we can, we get distracted and say, I can't do anything. The call on our generation is how you treat your elderly and how you treat your children. And we're doing a terrible job of that on both ends right now.
Of course.
Terrible job. We don't respect our elderly. We don't take care of them very much. We try to push them off into the corner thinking that we're forever young, and we forget that we're going to be old someday, right? Watching over our children, making sure that they have meals at school, making sure that they're going into a safe environment, making sure that their minds are filled with positive things instead of looking now through, critical race theory to look at people through the lens of race. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So we're doing a bad job right now, but that doesn't mean I'm seeing an uptick in civic duty making a return. And go ahead.
That's exactly what I want to talk about.
Okay.
That's exactly what I want to talk about. We were at an art fair this weekend, and I had Brian's best friend Margaret's little terrier walking him. And I went down little alleys and things like this, you know, because the main streets were crowded. And every one of those alleys that I went, I only went down 3, but every one of the 3 had a group of like preteen boys, and they were just sitting there on their bikes and stuff. And then there were 2 girls around the corner in an alley where there was a one-way, no way out, except for where they were in the middle. Where I was standing was the only way in or out. And then another 2 in a similar little cubby hole, and I was going, what if a car or van pulled up right here? You wouldn't even see them in there. They could grab them, throw them in there, speed off, and nobody knew. I'm looking around, and it's got me thinking, why are you in here? So let's talk about this. Civic duty, like you said, what you hear, what you see, but what about instinct? Do you think we've lost the God-given, it's a birthright instinct? And people don't believe, they don't trust their own instincts anymore. What is that?
Well, I'll tell you, again, propaganda is a powerful tool, right? A powerful tool. When you have this, and let's use George Floyd, right? Let's use George Floyd's circumstance as an example. George Floyd, you had 300 million people in this country go, you know, get your knee off that guy's neck. Now, you know, there's people that were like, well, you know, he put a gun at a pregnant lady's belly and was a drug dealer and may have, you know, overdosed on fentanyl. And then you've got the other side that made him a hero and, you know, basically Jesus-like. And neither side of that is right. The initial gut instinct of humanity in this country was that man was murdered, right? And everybody thought it. Everybody at the same time, unless you're really a racist asshole, that, you know, you thought that was wrong for them to do that to that man. And at the end of the day, that came back, and what happened was the politicians don't like it when that thing occurs, when all of us agree on something. And so they immediately started putting their spin on it to re-divide everybody.
Sure, of course.
And when we allow that to happen, then we are complicit in the division that angers us, right? It's like, you know, you go to the doctor and you say, Doc, it hurts when I do this. And the doctor just says, stop doing that, dumbass. Well, we are the people that have to stop doing that. We have to stop accepting that and start looking at things and finding things to come together around. No one of right mind can look at child rape and child trafficking and say that's a good thing. Nobody, true. Right? So let's come together around that and don't qualify people as they come into that fight and say, he's too white, he's too black, he's too gay, he's too straight, he's too whatever the thing what is. Just come together. In the trafficking world, they're fighting against each other, right? In the freedom movement, they're fighting against each other. Like, stop being so petty, y'all. Find things to agree on instead of finding things that you disagree on, because both are available. It's what choice you're making.
Exactly. One of the things too, on the screen right now, and you guys please chime in. I'm interested in what you think about this. When we talk about defending our territory, how much do you think the media, you mentioned it earlier, touched on it slightly, but when outside of the media, celebrity status, I never understood or still don't understand why people like Matt Lauer, they just disappear into the background. We saw what happened with Bill Cosby, and then he's out. But they never show, and that doctor from those girls were just testifying last week, the gymnast. They never show when somebody gonna make a Lifetime movie or something that shows how they did it. You know, you just say, oh, Bill Cosby did this, Mike Lauer did that, so and so did this, so and so did that. But what is that? How did they do it? What was, you know what I mean? Because it's happening right before our eyes, right under our noses, from people we would least expect. So where do we start? I mean, when we're going to be talking to those kids all day on the 28th, everything from self-defense, how to, like those girls, why would you put yourself in a possible, you know, so it's like, I want some reenactment, some stuff on the, you know, where you just take those things and show them what it could be, not to scare them, but to kick in their instincts, because those girls were sitting down there, I'm telling you, Jason, like they had never heard.
Vulnerable as hell. Vulnerable as hell.
There you go.
Yep. And there's a book for everybody that's really great. I read it years ago. It's called The Survivor's Club. And in it talks about why people, and it talks about extreme circumstances, plane crashes, suicide, all of these different things. It talks about them. And in it has it really talked, it was a short area in the book that talked about normalcy bias, right? We all have a normalcy bias. And when our brain kicks in and we see something abnormal, we question it. And what happens is you go to the news and you look at cities burning, businesses being robbed, police being attacked, white people being attacked at their dinner tables because they're white. And you look at that and you go, that's wrong. And then you listen to the feedback going, your eyes are lying to you. This is okay. And then you compare that to a January 6th attack where there was no weapons, no burning, no anything. The only person that died in that attack was somebody that was an unarmed protester. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen the entire summer, by the way. Not right. One unarmed attacker. So you look at these things and then you get feedback from the media of what you're supposed to believe. And you go, okay, well, I'm a Democrat, so I have to believe the things that they're saying there. Instead of being a human being and going, that's not right. That's not right. So part of it is getting back in touch with yourself and what are your morals? What are your standards? What are your beliefs? And where are they rooted in? Are they rooted in the world? Are they rooted in spirituality? Are they attached to a loving God whose son died for them, right? Or are they rooted in I got to get mine in this particular moment? And one pays off for eternity and the other one doesn't pay off at all. It pays off in regret. It pays off in misery. So where are you attached as the individual? It always drives back to the individual. Where are you in the fight?
I want to ask, well, that's a good point. That's a great point. Good question. So right now I have another question for all of you out there, and then I'm going to address that same question to you, Jason. But in the comments right now, if you would, I really would like to know, there's 3 words on the screen. Which of those 3 words do you feel is the most important word of the 3? I'm interested in knowing. And Jason, we'll throw that over to you, defending our territory. So which one of those words is the key word to getting something done?
Well, they're all 3 important. It's a great question, but I would say defend, right? Defend. There's, you've heard me say this before. I believe that I'm put on this earth. I have a very simple philosophy. I believe that God put me on this earth and everybody on this earth to become the best them that they can possibly be for the purpose of serving other people. And serving other people means that you actually defend the vulnerable with your strengths. And the bigger that you can build your strength, monetary, physically, mentally, spiritually, the more that you can build yourself up, you become a bigger wall for those that need defense, so that then they can build themselves up and be part of that defense. Okay.
Okay.
So, and what are you defending and what are you guarding? It's, if you die in service of someone else, what a way to go. What a way to go. People ask me all the time why I do the stuff that I do. Now Emily's involved, right? And even I had a hard time when Emily started getting into the trafficking stuff, going, what if something happens to her in one of these ops? What's her family going to think? What, you know, who am I as a man to put my woman in harm's way? And then, you know what? I figured it out really quickly. That's between her and God. She put herself there, right? And she's defending from her strength. And she can handle a gun almost better than I can. And sometimes she can hear me right now, so I don't want to give her a big head. You know, sometimes she's a better shot. So, but at the end of but we have to figure it out from our perspective. Where are we going to defend? And defense means that you become less and others become more.
And that's why I agree with Keith Mullins that to me, the most important word of the three is our. Because that's the one word where we can all meet without, you know, defending may mean a million things to a person. Territory may mean a million different things to one person, or different for a million people in a row. But our, we know is us. We should at least. And I think that that's a place to start, because then you're not passing the buck. And I think, Jason, I don't know, but I just feel like a lot of us think that it's somebody else's job.
Ain't nobody coming to save you. And
Right.
This hour thing, well, let's talk about it. I'll give you the flip side of hour, right? Hour can become a mob. And a mob
we've
can,
seen that.
yeah, and we've seen that, where people get together around an idea that because I'm a Democrat, or because I'm attached to the BLM movement, or because I'm attached to Donald Trump, or because I'm attached to blah blah blah, then your morals go out the door. And I agree. The most powerful thing, you know, the most powerful weapon on planet Earth is a human soul set on fire. Now you get people's souls set on fire for defending the vulnerable. They're all three important. They're all three important, but our can become a poison if you're part of a mob who's think of the Salem witch trials throughout history, right? Throughout history, being a Nazi, right? You were part of a group. It was our group that was defending against Jews who. There was nothing wrong with them. There was nothing different about them except for the way that they believed religiously. But we need an other. Right? We need an other when we are not mentally developed or mentally matured enough. We have to have an enemy. There is an enemy, and it's called evil. Right? It's called evil, and that's easily distinguishable as long as you're filtering it through the lens of right and wrong.
Right. One thing I want to say before we get out of here, unfortunately, we're almost out of time, but there's still always more time. The next moment, the moment after that. Don't put it off. Start thinking about this, because here's why. We're building this out. We still have several months before everything is going to be completely sealed in, grouted in, if you will. And we would love to hear your feedback on what you think needs to be happening at the Stan Mansion that we may not have already thought of come April 28th. All of us has something that we've seen, we've experienced, we've lived, we've regretted. And we are trying to save our kids one story at a time. So if you would get at us, you can leave anything at Bathrobe Moments at gmail.com, or you can just hit me up personally. But before we get out of here, if you want to continue the dialogue, if you want to see what else is going on in Jason's life, head over to AntonJ.com, or you can also catch his show, The Bald Avenger, at this page, The Bald Avenger Official on Facebook. Again, one more, it's also scrolling across the bottom, Jason's personal page, jasonfisnotes.1. So, in conclusion, Jason, if you could leave one thing out there right now for people to let them know how important their presence is at the Stan Mansion come April 28th, what reason would you throw out there? as that.
Well, I would say that if this resonates with you, if being an example, having being able to cross paths with a child that may need to hear your voice, not ours from stage, but yours in the audience, in a passing conversation or a high five or something of that nature, this is the powerful good side of our. When we come together around these children who are vulnerable to a lot of the things that are happening in this world, sure. I would say, get to Power of We. We've seen it now. This will be our third example. And there has not been one single one of these events where there wasn't multiple miracles that happened in front of our eyes. Right. And it's so powerful that when you get outside of yourself and you come to serve, that what a difference you can make in these children's lives. So again, there's going to be a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds that are going to come there to serve these children. You need to be one of them. If this hits your heart in that way, come and hang out with us, because it's community, and that community is serving. And the Power of We is one of the most powerful events that I've ever seen for the life of a child to change without us telling them what to do, but giving them the opportunity to see life through a different lens.
Well said, well said. And listen, you guys, we really want you there. Tickets go on sale on Eventbrite. I'll let you know, and I'll put that link out there for you. October 10th, tickets are going to go on sale. So I really recommend that you get them quickly. So thank you so much, Jason. You guys also head over to powerofwesymposium.com and take a look at what we've done so far. And I'm sure that will, if not already you're off the fence, we'll get you off the fence and get you into a seat where you can be. I can't even tell you how important it is that you're there in your story. We all have one. So thank you again, Jason. Thank you for stepping up at the last minute for Danny, who just couldn't be here. But it's always a pleasure. And
I love you, brother. I love your heart. I love Brian. You guys are amazing. You guys will always be family of mine, and always here to support anything that comes to you, because I know you listen to God.
I do. Thank you so much. Vice versa. My love and all the goodness to you and Emily. Have a wonderful day. And you guys the same. Get out there and just find an E and an R. You don't need 26 letters to change the world. You need one E and one R. You're here. You're going to be here as long as you keep doing what you should be doing along the path. So take strong to stronger, bright to brighter, smart to smarter. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, God willing, out front at 8 a.m. for our next episode of Bathrobe Moments.
Show me your soul.